Alrighty, we are back with the 66 Galaxy. I have absolutely destroyed this thing up until getting it running to now. We've raced it 2 different ways. We drag raced it, we took it rally crossing, and I blew up their gear. So now we're here, so now I can fix it. So put this thing in the air, get the T10 out of it, and hopefully go through it and fix their gears. I think the collar, the engagement ring, and the synchro, or all of it, is broken in the transmission. So we swapped 4-speed in and went back to a 3-speed. So I'm doing great. But either way, I'm gonna put this thing up in the air, get this transmission ripped out. I've got a bunch of parts. I've never taken a transmission apart. I've done engines, but I've never done a transmission. So hopefully we can dive into this thing, get it fixed, put it back on the road, head back to the drag strip, and hopefully shave more than a second off our time this time. So with that, let's get into it. All right, this car has been through a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot, to the point where it was totaled, put back on the road, and then I drove it. And that's enough to say the least. So this thing has definitely seen a lot, and today we're gonna put this thing back on the road and get it back driving and back to the track so I can beat on it some more. So let's dive into it. All right, let's see what we got in this thing. Oh boy. Oh my gosh, dude. No way. Oh, this is so bad. That's insane. It's just metal the whole time. I'll show you guys when I pull it out. Nice. A little better. All right. So we have a broken T10 4-speed. Not fully functioning at least. So I'm going to attempt to take this all apart. Never taken a transmission apart. I've done tons of engines. I've never done a tranny. So this is going to be a learning experience for all of us. Just clean this workbench and it's about to get absolutely destroyed. I already know it. So I've watched like 15 seconds of one YouTube video, and we're gonna go straight into it. All right, so here's where we're at. So right now, 4th gear, actually no, this is 3rd. So 4th gear works, 3rd gear is locked up. See, I like hit a wall. I don't know why, not really sure what's going on. Something in here is not happy. So I'm gonna take these off. Okay, so this right here is the 3rd gear synchro. It should not free spin. That's kind of the main problem, I'm pretty sure, right here. Because you can see this other synchro, they lock. So you can see I can't, like once I try spinning it, it stops, doesn't spin anymore. And then it stops, doesn't spin anymore. It starts spinning the whole gear. That's how this is supposed to be. So if I take the shift fork, you can see this one free spins, which is I'm pretty sure why it keeps falling out of gear. Is that guy right there. If I take the shift fork out of here, shove it back into this. All right, there's the real broken one. Look at that. Oh yeah. Let's get a better shot of that. Oh yeah. Look at that. All teeth. Oh dude. Wow. I am impressed. Wasted this synchro. Wasted it. It's completely destroyed. So 3rd and 4th gear synchros are bad. Those are both trash. So those need to get fixed. Everything else in the transmission I think is okay. There's definitely some good amount of play in this thing, so that's what I'm gonna try to fix here. So, yeah, nice. That is awesome. Well, there we go. Okay, well, I'm gonna start taking this thing apart. First thing I gotta do is take the nose off, pull that off, and then pull the back of the case and start separating everything. So this should be fun. All right, so I'm tearing this thing apart and look at another thing I found. So this, so you can see our 1-2 shift collar is currently hitting the reverse gear. You can see it hitting right there. And look at what it did to the teeth on the gear. Just chewed them all up. Look, it's hitting currently. You can see it down at the bottom. It's just kind of hard because there's not a lot of light. Down there, they're touching. So these have been grinding on each other. It's probably been that. You can hear it. That's just hitting that. Yeah, you can see a big chunk right there. Nice, that's awesome. Oh no, everything fell out. Son of a bitch. Okay. The rear problem is all of the garbage in the case and the fact that this main shaft, front half of this thing is absolutely roasted. This doesn't look terrible, I've seen worse. However, these are no bueno. So this is gonna have to come off. But I wanna kinda organize everything first. And then I'm going to take this main slider off and then get the synchros out. I'm gonna replace pretty much all the synchros throughout this whole thing. This sucks. This is like way more moving parts than an engine. So I would say putting a transmission together is definitely harder than an engine. Being I've done both now. Alright, so this is kind of what we got going on, which as you can see by the inside of the case, everything in there is trashed. I mean, the amount of synchro material in this thing is incredible. I've never seen anything like that. I'm trying to make it to where you guys can see everything, but there's tons of synchro material right there. There's tons of it on the edges of this thing. You can see the edges of it right there have a ton. Obviously in the bottom, there's these broken pieces. I don't even know what these are, but I keep finding these. There's 3 of these that are all broken. If you look at the actual gears themselves, these things are pretty much trashed. So you can see this is covered in synchro material. All of these shift collars are all, the synchro just free spins, that thing's junk. So most of this stuff, as well as this synchro, the whole thing is rounded off on the end. So most of the parts in this transmission are junk, unfortunately. The gear sets are okay, those are fine. These are fine. All of the synchros are junk. This shift collar seems like it's okay. This one seems like it's definitely chewed up pretty good. You can see where it's got some nicks on it, on the edges, all the way around here. And that's from it hitting that other gear. So it was literally chewing the edge of the gear up. You can see those edges are all rounded off on the top. It's not supposed to be like that. So this thing is absolutely coated in metal and grease and dirt and all sorts of gear oil, which is like the worst smell ever created by man. So I'm gonna be coating this thing in a bunch of GUNK products. The foamy engine degreaser is the first one. It's a lighter, easier way to get all that grease and dirt and grit off this thing. Then I'll come back with some brake clean just to kind of finish it off. Mind you, I don't really care about the paint or the finish. I wouldn't recommend cleaning your engine with brake clean, but this being it's the inside of the case, the brake clean just helps get everything nice and finished. There's no sort of coating or anything weird on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray some of this stuff on, hopefully get this thing cleaned up pretty fast. Alright, so I've got the first round of cleaning done with some of the GUNK products. I'm going to use some of their degreaser. This stuff's really nice. It's a little bit lighter and easier to use. I'm going to spray bottle, so I'm going to spray the whole inside of it and then go ahead and brush that out and then wash it out a couple times and should be good to go after that. We'll see how it works. So you can see we went ahead and washed this thing out and pretty much everything fell right off. The GUNK heavy engine degreaser, the foam, and then the multi-purpose degreaser made quick work of everything on this thing, and I went ahead and cleaned up the case and got everything prepped for reassembly, and that synchro material gets absolutely everywhere. So if the GUNK products can get it off for me, they can do a heck of a lot for you. Alright, just like that, our case is now clean. So you can see the inside and out of this thing looks absolutely fantastic. These are the only 3 things I used. I use GUNK products here every single day in the shop, and I recommend it to you as well because the stuff works. It's very easy, it's a cheap solution to get something cleaned the first time without using tons and tons of product. I used these 3 things and did not go through a single can of one of them to clean this disgusting case that was covered in metal, brass synchro material, and a ton of grease and caked on dirt. And the whole inside of this thing looks absolutely brand new, and it's literally ready for reassembly. So I'll have a link down down below in the description below if you want to check out any of GUNK's products. So I have a link below so you guys can go check out GUNK's products. They have a wide range of different things to help you on your next project. And that being said, I got a bunch more stuff to clean. So I'm gonna get all this stuff clean and hopefully keep tearing down and get ready to put it back together. All right, so here is the fun part. Well, I'm pretty proud of myself. I managed to keep my hands clean this whole time by wearing gloves and using the same pair of gloves without destroying them. So the case is clean, the tail shaft is now clean. Most of the internal parts are mostly clean. I still gotta organize a few things, but this is the main thing we have to tackle. This is the main shaft within the transmission, and I'm pretty sure if I take this C-clip out, this will come off. The gears will need to be pressed off, but pretty much from top to bottom, this thing's still full of synchro material. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this right here. I'm gonna do this with no gloves and immediately ruin my nice clean hands that I had all day. Taking this guy off here, which is a little bit tricky.
Well, that one's gone too.
This one's also wasted, yeah. So that's the reason it's falling out of gear right there. Okay, so the gear sets are okay. This is fine. I can make this work. Let me put that back on. All right. This is a bad time to tell you I have no idea what I'm doing. And somehow, I have to turn this into a complete transmission in like 8 hours. There's a lot of gears and clips and shims behind me that I do not remember how it was together because it's been 2 weeks since I took it apart. Because I had to wait for the parts to show up. And I ordered the wrong rebuild kit, so that was sick. So yeah, hopefully, by the end of the day, this shaft will be complete. I will make my shaft complete. That's the goal. All right, so we're chugging along, getting this mid plate kind of taken apart, and look, the C-clip that holds the actual bearing and was broken, and the bearing was pressed down already a pretty good amount. This was the old bearing, which does not really spin all that well anymore. So it's pretty much donezo. It makes a bunch of noise too, which isn't really ideal. But what happened was that C-clip broke and the bearing sunk backwards, and I noticed that some of the gears were kissing each other, and you can see the back side of this slider right here. It's all chewed up on the edge here. And that's because everything slid backwards because this lock ring broke inside of here. So I just fished it all out. And so what happened on the back side of this gear, you can see it's all not necessarily worn, but there's definitely some material missing, like they rubbed up against each other. This isn't going to do anything. This is a hardened steel gear against a piece of aluminum, and you can clearly see which one won. But you can see it wore in all the way around on this thing, so that's less than ideal. So I'm gonna take a grinder and just kind of shave all this and make sure it's all clean. There's no metal shavings that can flake off into the case, but that's definitely interesting to see. So I'm gonna put this whole thing back together. I did have a rebuild kit. This is for a regular T10. I got a super T10 kit the first time, so I have everything correct. But you can see when they send you the new engagement sleeves and everything, they're upgraded everything to super T10 now, I guess. So I guess my 3 and 4 will have a super T10 synchro, so that's why one clip series is different than the other. So this is 1 and 2, and this is 3 and 4. So it's a little bit different, but either way, should all go back together as long as I can figure it all out. So I'm gonna get this guy cleaned up, bearing back in it, start putting everything on the shaft. Alright, so I've pretty much gotten everything onto the main shaft and it looks pretty good. I have a Super T10 engagement ring up here, regular one back here, because this is what broke on the other one. So I fixed all that. Everything's now shifting correctly. You can see in the videos past, I kind of tested everything, but all these gears are moving properly. synchros are not spinning. So before it was this synchro right here, it would spin freely because it was broken, and you can see now it's not spinning freely anymore. It's actually like locking in. It's because it has teeth, so it's everything that was broken is now fixed. So now I just have to essentially figure out how to put this whole thing back together. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So I'm going through and getting all the shims and pieces put back in. I've got the rest of these pieces that I got to figure out where the hell they go. Hopefully I can make this whole thing go back together, but it is definitely a process. So would I recommend doing it yourself? Yeah, I mean, it's a good skill to learn for sure, but I definitely would look into the entire process before you even open the case, because there's a lot of moving parts in this thing, and if one thing breaks and you have to order it, you are screwed and cannot put the thing together. So it's not like an engine where you can just go down to the parts store and get stuff. You know, everything for these transmissions has to be ordered unless somehow you have a 4-speed shop near you, and 1000% it's going to be cheaper to buy one just on Facebook Marketplace. So if you have a T10 and you broke it and you want to get a new one, you could probably find one for like $400 or $500. You know, I spent like 300 and change rebuilding this thing, but then I know it's good. I didn't want to spend $300 or $400 on another junk transmission. So that's kind of the whole reason I'm doing this. Plus I figured it'd be a cool experience to show you guys. It's the only thing I haven't done. I've redone engines and tons of other things on cars, pretty much every single other part of a car, but I've never done a transmission, so I just really wanted to do it. But it sucks. It's not fun. None of this is fun, but I could say I did it. All right, this thing came out absolutely incredible. You can see I went ahead and swapped out all the bolts last second just to kind of clean everything up. All new hardware, everything's clean, all the gaskets are new, painted, it's sealed up, every single gear works. I've tested them, this thing's ready to go back in the car. I'm very, very excited about that. So yeah, super proud of that. I mean, like I said, the only thing I've never done is actually rebuild a transmission. It's something I kind of wanted to do, even though a lot of times for T10s like this, it's worth it just go find another one, because they're not, you know, $1,500, $2,000+ transmission. You can usually find these things for like under $500 on Marketplace. But I know this one's good, that's the bigger thing. I want to put this thing back in the car for the last time and not worrying about it being bad or broken, and having all 4 gears. So this thing's ready to go, but you can see I'm missing the shifter. So I have the shifter over here. And the last thing to kind of wrap this whole project up is to get this thing all dialed in. You can see it's kind of not really the nicest thing in the world. So I want to tighten this whole thing up, make this really nice. I'm not really sure how we're going to do it, but we're going to start diving into this, see what's actually wrong with it. All right, the next thing is the shifter. So you can see everything works real nice when it's outside of the car, but this thing is like super sloppy. That right there, in gear, there's neutral. It's like the springs aren't springing, and I mean it works, and then reverse is really hard to find. There it is right there. So I'm just gonna take it apart and just check everything, re-grease it, shim it, do whatever I need to do. I didn't buy a rebuild kit for this thing, which I probably should have, but oh well. Just the rebuild kit for the shifter is 150 bucks. I'm not gonna spend that, so I'm gonna see if I can just fix it with what I have. That's kind of the theme of this whole thing, is just kind of fixing it with what I have instead of going out and spending money on stuff. Obviously the trans rebuild kit I had to buy, but that was like $300 if that. Only because I broke that engagement collar for 3 and 4. But normally I wouldn't even have to buy that. I could have just used the one I had and just put synchros in it. I could have synchro slapped that transmission for like 40 bucks and been done. Okay, so now I've got it on the bench. Take this inspection plate off. Now mind you, I've never done this, so I don't know necessarily how this all comes apart. I'm just gonna figure it out with you. These things are just... Where's that other shim go? Oh, it's almost like a brake thing. Alright, so upon further investigation, this is complete and utter garbage. So unfortunately, this Super Comp is junk. Pretty much everything in it's junk. It all needs to be rebuilt. You can see the main shaft. You can see the main shaft piece right here. Oh my gosh, could you let me finish my video? So you can see this main slider shaft is super chewed up. So that thing's really, really sloppy. It doesn't fit in there very well. All the shims are literally blue in color from heat. These are all junk. Springs are really worn out. You can see the springs are very sharp on the top edge, which means they're worn down. Pretty much everything's junk. So it's not really worth using this thing or fixing it. But ironically, because I hoard garbage around here from all sorts of other cars, you never throw anything away because you never know when you can use it. And this is a perfect example. So you can see right here, went ahead and took some blaster product to this thing and got this thing coming out absolutely awesome. But you can see the neutral gate actually works right here. All the gears are working. You can see everything's down here. And ironically, this is a 4-speed shifter. So you can see there's first, second, third, fourth, they're all working. It's much tighter. You can see how much tighter this one is. This is how it's supposed to be. So you can see my one before versus now, this is way, way better. So I'm just gonna use this. Like, I literally opened the trunk of the Galaxy. I forgot, I went to like basically a yard sale and found this thing. And I said, screw it, I might use it for something. Threw it in the back of the Galaxy, forgot about it until now. And then I was like, oh crap, I need to get a shifter for this thing. Because these base plates are like $250 just for this lower section right here. So if you go to a swap meet or any sort of, you know, yard sale, garage sale, whatever, and you see just this lower section, buy them because they're very, very expensive. And you can rebuild them, and you can rebuild them, but a rebuild kit's like 150 bucks. A brand new one's like 250. So if you can get a good one, definitely jump on it. That's exactly what we have right here. So we do have a Hurst Indy. I'm probably gonna chop this off and put the original shifter that I had on the car because it's already fit to the car. I'm just gonna have to cut it off right here and then basically re-weld it in the same spot again. But nevertheless, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this thing up and paint it and get it on the transmission. And we'll have a brand new T10 with a shifter and everything, all brand new, ready to go on. Well, brand used is what I would like to call it. Not everything's new on it, but man, it's gonna be really, really nice. So I'm gonna get that shifter on, roll through the gears, make sure everything works. Okay, so this is the shifter out of the Galaxy. You can see I had the old piece right here. It's got the broken bushing in. Everything from here over is pretty much junk. This is the extension I made because this thing was like literally like this big. It was tiny. So I made this originally for the car and the old shifter. It's not gonna work anymore, but it's not junk. It's not junk, don't throw it away. We don't throw anything away around here. So what I'm gonna show you how to do is we're gonna take this and turn it into a beautifully brushed finished piece. This is a Hurst shifter, or what's left of one. So I originally cut it here, welded this extension. I'm gonna cut it right here again, ditch this broken piece. I'm gonna make a little 2-bolt flange to bolt onto our new shifter. I'm gonna strip this crappy chrome off of it because it's pretty much all deteriorated anyways. And then I'm going to sand this thing and blend it flush. And I'm gonna show you guys how I take this into a nice brushed finished piece. And it'll be a one-off custom shifter. Show you guys how I make it. So let's get into it. All right, so we've got this super dope freaking shifter handle. You can see it blends out really, really nice. So yeah, made the whole thing. You really don't need to buy these shifters. One thing that I realized that was pretty cool, that I thought about when I was building this thing, is if you have a lot of time and not a lot of money, you can build something really cool. If you have a lot of money, not a lot of time, you can buy something really cool. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right here. So I made this whole thing out of just I didn't have 3/8 plate, so I just took 2 pieces of 1/8 or 2 pieces of 3/16 to make 6/16, which is 3/8, and then welded it all together. And then blended it all, and you can see it has a nice taper to it all the way across. It actually isn't, it's like pretty damn flat. It's all the way through. So what I'm gonna do is create a brush finish. If this was an aluminum piece, this would be super easy to do that on. Steel, it's a lot harder. So as you can see, I went through a lot of pads just to get to this state. But so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna give it a brush finish in one direction. It's sanded to 150 grit right now, which you could honestly leave it like this if you really like this look. But I'm gonna give it a directional finish. So that's what I did on the F100's grill. So if you've ever seen the grill on this truck, it's actually not the stock like anodized coating. It's brush finished all the way around. It's a little scratched up just from using it, but it has this brush finish. So that kind of goes up from like 600 to 800 to 1500 to 2000. And then I use like a red Scotch-Brite pad and I finish brush it, give it all the nice brush lines. So that's kind of what I'm gonna try here, but that's easy to work with. This is way thick, so I don't even know. I'm just gonna play around with it and see what works, but we'll give it a nice directional finish. So I'm just gonna take the worn out piece of 150. A brand new piece of 400 is stickier than this really worn out piece of 150. So this is probably like 600 technically. And this is the longest part of the shifter, so I'm gonna follow that parallel so I don't have to do a bunch of these stupid little, you know, half reps. And I'm gonna go as straight as I can. And this is really gonna bring out all the flaws in the shifter, which I can see there's a lot. So, but I don't have 80 grit. I need 80 grit. If I have 80 grit, then I can stand all this out. But you can see as I go down it, it gives it a nice brush finish. And I don't want this to be shiny, I just want it to be consistent. So I can tell I'm gonna have to mess with this, because if it's not perfectly flat, you're gonna see the result. That's the only downside. So when I'm taking a flat disc and running down it, and I accidentally go too hard in one spot, you see it. So I want to give you guys a good before and after here. So this is the DA side. If I flip it over, this is the finished brush side. You can see all those little scratches. Those are from the grinder. They're not bad for the first pass. That blends really nice. All right, now that, something I'm damn proud of. It looks really good. And I know you guys are probably already yelling, telling me the rods aren't hooked up, this isn't hooked up, this isn't hooked up right. This is not 110% its final form. The transmission is done. The shifter linkage is still gonna take me a little bit. You can see I just have this clamped on. I didn't actually drill and bolt this thing on specifically because I'd like to fit it when it's in the car, so I know where everything is. So if I wanna clock this thing, you know, a little bit this way, a little bit this way, whatever I decide to do, I can do that in the car. But now you can really kinda get a feel for that brush finish. You can see that shine all the way down. Looks really good. Very happy with the way this came out. All the way down. It's too nice. I mean, literally this is going in this car. You know, this is not a nice car necessarily. A tree fell on this thing. It's total, literally. The car is bent, but it's more so to prove to myself, and that's what I recommend to a lot of you guys. You know, just because it's maybe not worth it, this car doesn't deserve it, X, Y, and Z. Do it for yourself. Do it for your own skill set. You know, learn a thing or two. Be proud of something. Be the guy in your friend group that's the only one that's rebuilt a transmission or rebuilt an engine or wired a car. Be that guy that takes the first step. That's the only way you're going to learn. It's the only way you're going to progress. And it's the only way you're going to become a better version of yourself. So that's why I wanted to do this. And just because it's going in maybe more of a ratty car doesn't mean I can't do the best work that I can physically put out. That's how every single project should be. That's that's the standard you should hold yourself to. Just because a shop or a person has a special skill set, that doesn't mean you can't acquire those same skills. So try it. You might be surprised at what your niche is. You might find a really, really hidden talent you didn't know you had. But man, this thing looks good. So I would totally finish all the shifter rods and get this thing slammed in the car tonight, but it is literally midnight on a Saturday. So I think it's kind of time for me to call it and wrap it up. Man, this thing looks good. So I have less than $500 in everything you see here. Shifter rebuild kit was around $300. I'll put the numbers up on the screen. So I had a little over $300, just under $400 and all the parts to fix the transmission. I think it was like in the 360 area. The shifter I got for free. Actually, the shifter I think I paid 20 bucks for. It was just sitting in a pile at a garage sale. So I had the shifter lying around. Like I said, the super comp that I had was bad. I could have used it, but realistically I didn't want to. This is way tighter. I think this is just an OE shifter. There's nothing too crazy about it. The Hurst Indy came with it. It was free. And then I went ahead and modified it and gave it that brush finish. That was all free as well. It's just scrap metal. You know, it's cut somewhere right about here and right here, and it's all blended. The hardware was at Advance. That's a couple bucks. Let's say like every freaking gold bolt on this thing, realistically, I'd say you might spend 20 bucks. Let's go on the high end. The shifter ball was, I think, at just about, the shifter ball, again, something I didn't need to buy, but I had it. I think I paid 30 bucks for this thing. It was brand new. So I think all in with like a tail seal, a $20 seal, I think we're just over 400 bucks in this entire thing. And I got quoted over $2,000 to do everything that you see here. So like I said, just because someone's a professional or has a shop or holds themselves to the super high standard and wants to charge you a bunch of money, it doesn't mean you can't do it yourself. So I hope you guys went on to learn a thing or two. I hope you guys are inspired to go try something out of your comfort zone. I highly recommend it. The worst you can do is tear it all apart and give it to the next guy. You know, if you tear it all apart, try rebuilding it, you fail, you know, ask people, and from there you learn. But you never learn unless you don't try. So I really hope you guys go on and try new things, push your limits. But with that being said, drop a like on the video if you do enjoy. Grab your merchandise at 99speedcompany.com. Don't forget our small block killer collection is live on the website. We're shipping out hoodies and all sorts of cool stuff. You can see it's all over there. Getting orders out as fast as we can. And you can check out our Patreon right here if you want to see all the videos and all the updates behind the scenes. And all the videos are up there ad-free if you want to check that out. It starts at only $5 a month to get the build sheet on this thing's engine too, which is really, really cool. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video where I get to actually install this thing, and hopefully it works. We'll see you guys.